Do you have a Range Rover with a water pump that's leaking? Nuts and bolts with Tone here, guys, and today I have a 2016 Range Rover with a 5-liter engine, and this one has a leaking water pump. I know, a little different from the diesels, but we're going to go ahead and tackle this water pump job. I'm going to show you how to do it. A couple little things to know when you're going in there. Got to be careful. There's some brittle stuff on this, and this job can turn into a nightmare fast. So I'm going to show you how to do it without it becoming a nightmare and get it done successfully. Before we get started, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell to get notified of all my future content, which you definitely don't want to miss. All right, let's jump right in. 2016 Range Rover with a leaking water pump. Look at all that. I'm going to show you how to replace this water pump. It's not super difficult. It's kind of buried in there, but we're going to get after this one and make this one a successful repair. Let's go. All right, step one, you're going to be taking your air intake tube off here. You're going to have 7 milli here, 7 milli. You're going to have 2 boots. You're going to look like that. Go ahead and take both of those off. Get this out of here. You're going to have a 10 milli that's going to bolt down right here. It's going to hold your air box down, and you're going to have a 7 milli right there at the throttle body. And then you're going to pull it back, and you're going to have this little tube connector here. You're going to just squeeze these two together like that and pull the airbox off. Now we have access. So I like to mark my hose clamps to the hoses. So we went ahead and did all that. But before we do that, we need to lift this up and drain the coolant. We're going to have to take off both of these belts. We're going to have to take off this supercharger belt. That's this guy right here. And we're going to have to take off the regular drive belt. But let's take a look at what this water pump looks like. So here is the water pump. So not a cheap brand that we're using here, but it's going to look a little something like that. All right. You're going to have your little nipple here. Okay. You're going to have 2 bolts on each side. There's going to be a gasket on each side, and there's going to be an O-ring here. So I got that O-ring. That one's separate. I'll show you the part number for that. But this water pump comes with new bolts, new gaskets, and we have the O-ring, which is right there. All right, so on the driver's side, there's a petcock right there. You're just gonna take a flathead, and thread that out. Make sure your cap's off and let that drain out so we can get the radiator empty. So for the supercharger belt, I went ahead and took it off from underneath while I was draining the coolant. So you're just going to have a tensioner, and you just turn it. It's a 1/2-inch drive, and you're going to just put it in there and turn it until it comes out. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and pull the belt out. The belt's not going to come all the way out without taking stuff off, but we got it off the pulleys. So we can just tuck it over here because it really, unless you're replacing this belt, really doesn't matter. So from here, now we're going to go ahead and, because see, the water pump bolts are right there. It's right behind that belt. There's a Torx there. So we're going to be going through there. So now we're going to go ahead and get this belt off, and we're going to use a 1/2-inch drive, turn this, get this belt off. This belt has to be out of the way because the bolt goes in front of the water pump. All right, so for the front here, you're going to go ahead and pull the clamp back for this, and go ahead and pull this off. This one here, you're going to have a little ear there and there. You have to just pry them out on each side. Be real careful, and then this pulls out. Go ahead and tuck that up. That goes on here. We want to try not to mess with this hose if we can help it. And then now we have this lower hose. You also have this hose here. Go ahead and take this off. Now we got to pull this hose back, and then we'll be able to get to the bolts on the water pump. Actually, we got to take the tensioner off too. The tensioner's got to come off because it's in the way of the bottom bolt. Here's your tensioner here. You're going to have a 13 milli, and your belt will hopefully just sit right there. And so now we just have the 4 bolts to take out, and we should be able to pop this water pump out. Once you get the water pump off, we're going to go ahead and get this valley cleaned up. You can put a rag back there, push it down, let it try to soak up some of that coolant so you don't have coolant pouring out on you and making it look like you have a coolant leak. You'll be driving and all of a sudden coolant will come down. So once we do that, we're going to go ahead and clean up these 2 water pump ports with a Scotch-Brite pad. We're going to wipe off that plastic nipple there. We got this O-ring here, and there's the part number right there. We're going to slide this onto that plastic pipe. We're going to lube it up. We're going to clean these up. Okay, then what you do, then you take your water pump, you put your gaskets on, and if you get a good quality one, your bolts will thread into the gasket. They'll be lightly threaded. I mean, you could push them if you wanted to, but you want to try to thread them in so they hold the gaskets in place. So that way we can set the water pump in there, start all 4 bolts, and then run it in and the gaskets will stay in place. Super important. Now, another thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to pop the nipple out. Now, if you get a cheap water pump, it'll have the nipple in it. If you get the good one, it won't. Now, mine, I literally barely pressed down on the tab and this thing just broke right off. So, we've got this nipple to go on there, and that is for this little hose right here. So I got a bungee just pulling this out of the way. And next up, get all this cleaned up and get ready. All right, another thing that doesn't hurt is to lube everything up. Lube up this passage here. Lube up your O-ring down there so that way it slides in. It doesn't break anything. You don't want it to break that plastic nipple. We got to be careful as we slide this on. It's a T30, and what works really good is this is a snap-on one. I normally use my carbine tools, but the carbine tools are longer. So this snap-on one is a perfect size. The only one it doesn't work for is the lower bolt because of this power steering line right here. So if I had undone the nut and got this out of the way, this would work perfect, but it doesn't work because of that. Trying not to undo stuff. So now let's get this water pump in the hole. We're going to torque this to 12 Newton meters, or I do everything in inch pounds. And so I got this Capri Tools mini 1/4 inch torque wrench, and we're going to use this 108 inch pounds. So really nice writing on there. You can see it really good. Use code TONE10 at Capri Tools. You get 10% off this guy or anything. But anyways, we're going to torque these 4 bolts down and get everything connected and make sure that we don't have any coolant leaks. While everything's out of the way, before we connect the hoses, we're going to go ahead and put this tensioner back in. It goes right there. So spray this off. If you're lucky, your belt stayed in a loop like that. So you can put the tensioner on and it'll go right around that loop. And it makes it easier to put the belt on. 13 mil. Let's get this in. So before we put the belt, all the hoses on, we have more access here for the belt. So I'm going to go ahead and put the belt on first. There's the diagram right there of kind of how it goes. So this is the tensioner. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the belt on, get the belt out of the way. Then I'm going to connect the hoses and hopefully we don't have a coolant leak. All right, here's a perfect example of these hose clamps. So these hose clamps work really good as long as you put them back exactly where they're supposed to be. So you can see right now that this hose does not line up with my marks. So now I need to clamp down on the clamp a little bit and then slide this clamp around until it fits and it lines up. And that's what it should look like right there. And you'll see, I think I need to move it over just a little bit, but it's lined up in its spot. This hose clamp's been off here multiple times. But anyways, you see what I'm talking about lining it up right there. The most important part of cooling systems is that you fill them with the proper tool. So you want to use some sort of vacuum refiller. It's going to suck all the hoses into a vacuum. It's going to suck the thermostat open. The only thing I'm not 100% certain of is this little elbow here. It pushed in, but it doesn't seem like it's locking in, so I'm not 100% certain on that. But anyways, time-wise, now the person's waiting for their car, so we're having to roll it. So what you do is you just put air to this and you let it suck down to a vacuum. And now here's how you can tell if you have like a major leak. When you close it, if that vacuum needle just starts sinking or dropping off, then you have a good-sized leak. So here we're just going to vacuum it down, and then we're going to put the different attachment on there to fill it. And then we're going to clean all this up and put the supercharger belt on. After watching this, I hope that you've made your decision whether you're going to do this job or not. If you decided to do it and you got it done successfully, fantastic, good job. Drop a comment down below and let me know. Or maybe you watch this video and you said, no way, I'm not messing with that, because in this water pump video, everything went perfect. If it didn't go perfect, then it's going to be a much bigger job. We're taking a lot of stuff apart, replacing more parts. Everything went well. Hopefully it does for you too. Let me know how it went for you guys. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.